This week on Bad Brackets, sports. Welcome back to another edition of Season 2 of Bad Brackets. I am still your host, Randy. Back from episode number 1 is Jesse. Also back from episode number 1 is Eric.
Could have made a very obscure, very deep cut joke on my board, but I realized it would have been too obscure.
And just to give them slight flashbacks, the winner of episode 1 was Robert Taylor, so I put Jesse and Eric up against the returning Robert Hagan. Robert, welcome back.
Quote him. He is back. I am back. Quote him.
Sorry, Hagan, all of your season 1 stats are gone. You are here at 0 with that. Well, not everyone else. There are 6 people that have more points than you now. So you have some working as far as getting back to the top of the list. Last week, we got really specific and went best matches in WWE in your house history. This week, the exact opposite. Best sport. A topic that blew Robert Hagan's mind. I'll just say it right now. I have never had him message me more about a topic than this one, asking me, but what do you mean? And I go, well, best sport. He goes, well, how do you determine that? I go, I don't. You do. I throw out the bracket, and then these 3 determine what they want to use for best sport.
Let's clarify this for a minute. You just said sport. You didn't say best sport. You didn't say team sport. You just said sport. So I messaged in. I said, like, table tennis? ?
Is it a sport?
I mean,
it's eligible.
Now, if we're going to get this way, you and I know this. There are people that tell us bowling is not a sport. It's not an athletic sport. We're going to have some beef if bowling's not on this list.
I have been told chess is a sport, so that could also be on here as well. I'm not going to give anything because we have a game to play, and with that, let's go ahead and look at the rules. They have slightly changed for season 1, and Hagan is seeing this for the very first time. But the stuff, if you ever watched the first season, basically the same. These 3 will give me 3 sports that they think will be on the 24 sport bracket that we are about to go through. We'll figure out who goes first here in just a second, but points are given out based on the seed of that sport. So if it's the 14 seed, you get 14 points. But if it's not on the bracket, you get absolutely nothing. New to season 2 is you get 1 counter pick. After we get through the 3 rounds of the draft, these 3 will then pick 1 sport that had been drafted previously that they think did not make the bracket. However, if it is not on the bracket and they are correct with their counter pick, they get 5 points. But if it is on the bracket, they lose 5 points. And Jesse and Eric know just how important the counter pick is. Before the show, each contestant turned in predictions for their Final Four and champion. If they got a Final Four pick right, they get 2 points. If they get all 4 Final Four picks correct, they get 2 additional bonus points. And if they get the champion correct, they will earn themselves 5 extra points. Any questions from the peanut gallery?
My only thing is, if there's a sport with different varieties, will they all be lumped together?
For the most part, I will say yes.
Okay. Wanted to clarify that.
Because I want to, again, I do want to get the variety of stuff. And then when you try to spread things out, it gets a little messy. So for an example, American football and flag football, it's football. 10-pin bowling and 5-pin bowling, like Eric likes to say, that's just bowling.
Which is fair. We know that especially Canadians have done it right in preferring the 5-pin game, but I'm willing to set that aside for the sake of this show.
So you're saying the backstroke and the breaststroke are the same thing in the pool?
Yeah, that would be considered swimming. For those that consider poker a sport, there's 30 variations of poker. If poker makes a bracket, that's in there. Like you said, swimming is all one giant thing. Different distances of cycling is different thing. I try to combine things just so we can get some variety. I will allow you guys that.
Okay.
You gets to go first. And the very first pick is going to go to Jesse. Your second pick is going to be close. Very close. Very.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't think that was going.
Me either. I just kept waiting for it to stop, and it just refused to stop moving. While I fix some stuff, Robert, define a sport.
Any sport for me has to be of some kind of physical activity. I wouldn't say poker being a sport or anything like that, but anything that requires some type of strength for me would fall in that category of sport.
Eric, do you agree or disagree?
I agree. And before I give you my brief answer, I want to let everybody know if you're enjoying season 2 so far, you want to catch up back to season 1, like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment, do all of the stuff to help us on the YouTube algorithm. We will appreciate it. And as far as my answer, I agree, because although I have done things that are mentally taxing, and I appreciate events that are mentally taxing, if there isn't some level of physical taxation involved, then it's not really a sport in my mind. There has to be some level of, if not direct physical exertion, some sort of physiological change has to happen during the event for it to be considered a sport to me.
That's a very good answer, and also very professional of Eric, because I always remember to do the YouTube stuff at the end. But yes, do that. We very much appreciate it. Jesse, do you have anything to add about what is a sport?
I mean, a competition between 2 or more people, measurable to see who wins. That's where I guess people get into the poker or the chess, where it's, the mental competition versus the actual physical. I don't know. I like to think of a sport as being physical as well, but I can see the argument for
a very broad topic, which made this kind of fun.
With that being said, Jesse, I expect you to pick jousting as your first pick.
You're wrong.
Well,
so
let's get to it, because Jesse, you do have the very first pick, and if you do jousting, I have an idea that Eric will pick that as his counter. I'll just say.
Yeah, I mean, relatively safe, I feel like, and go boxing.
Boxing.
That was going to be one of my potential ones.
Robert.
I'm going this way just because of the love that I have for it. First off, from our old show, the R&R Sports Report, Eric introduced us to it. Give me some Aussie rules football.
Right, hold on. Eric is a big fan of Aussie rules, but I watched Aussie rules before Eric, and then that helped our friendship.
Whoa! Hold on. When did you start watching Aussie rules?
Mid 2000s.
Okay, we were roughly around the same time. My statement will be retracted.
Again, I'm not saying that I watched it before you. I'm just saying I watched it before I met you, is all I'm saying.
That is fair.
I'm not going to get into that semantics, but yeah, mid 2000s. That run where Hawthorne won 3 in a row was a good time for me to really get into it.
Ooh.
Eric, you are up.
Well, going from one Aussie sport to another one that will be making its debut.
Beer drinking is not a sport.
Okay, I retract that.
Ooh.
It will be making its debut. It will be returning, although, never mind. It will be returning to the Olympics in 3 years' time. Cricket.
Cricket. Eric, you get the back-to-back.
Well, since a couple of these people somehow read my list, which means I have to put in more filters and very suspicious links to websites in order to deter them, I have to pick alternatively. So I'm going to go with rugby as my second pick.
Rugby. Robert, back to you.
I am going this way, and Jesse kind of went boxing, so I'm going to go the newer style of fighting. Give me MMA.
Not MAA. MMA. Jesse.
Well, Robert mentioned it earlier for whether or not it is or not. I'm gonna go with some table tennis.
Table tennis. And Jesse, your last pick.
Yeah, last pick. I'll go on the board here. I'll go with some billiards.
Billiards.
Good old fashioned pool.
Is it AI or I always forget.
IA, you got it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I get all self-conscious. All right. Robert.
I'm gonna go with this one, and there's people that argue this, but they're an athlete. They train. They do this. Whether you're a Formula One guy, a drag guy, or a NASCAR, give me racing.
Auto racing. All right, Eric.
From the game they play in heaven to the beautiful game, which we will also be hosting in many forms this coming summer and next, soccer.
Soccer. All right, Eric. You get the first counter pick. Which one of these is not on the bracket?
I'm torn between two, but knowing the potential for matchups and everything else, I see a couple that I could see being pitted against each other, save for one. So my counter pick is going to be billiards. I don't think billiards made it.
Okay, Robert.
That's exactly what I was gonna say was billiards.
Can't do that.
So I'm gonna go table tennis then.
Table tennis. Jesse, are you picking boxing? Are we just picking on you? What is happening?
Right. That's I thought about I mean if I had been picking third, so got the first counter pick, I could have just done a throwaway and then picked my own.
Right. All right, it's a strategy.
Strategy. Man. Just for the sake of having a pick, I guess I'll go Aussie rules.
Aussie rules. All right. Let me make sure I have those all wrote down. And now we go into another new section for season 2, and that is your bonus questions. Get your whiteboards out. You will write down your answers as we go through, and then we will go one by one where you will reveal your answers to everything, and then I will keep track, and we will reveal the answers at the end of the show. Your first bonus question worth 1 point. How many sports on the bracket start with the letter B? Very simple, but yet could be difficult. Your second question worth 3 points. How many sports on the bracket require some sort of ball to play? 24 on the bracket. How many need a ball? And your final bonus question, worth 5 points. How many sports on the bracket have the word ball in the name? Those are your 3 bonus questions. And everybody have your answers wrote down? We will go with Jesse. Jesse, how many sports have the the word that starts with the letter B? You said 5. The sports that need a ball is 15. Is that 8 for the ones with the word ball in
It's
the title?
whatever answer is correct.
Okay.
It's 8.
24 is what I'll write down. We'll see how it goes. Robert, how many sports on your bracket start with the letter B?
5.
You guys can talk. It's all right.
5.
Did you copy Jesse? 13
No, I did not. I had
sports
lucky
on a
number
bracket
13. Lucky number 13.
require a
We're
ball.
pretty
and then
close though on the
Yeah.
other two.
6.
I am
Nick.
sensing a weird sort of wavelength of mind meld, and I
Oh,
don't know
God.
whether I like it or not.
Well, that takes drama out. So, Eric, how many sports start with the letter B?
5.
Clearly, didn't plan to this. I don't know why it's backwards all of a sudden.
Wow.
Yes.
14.
And we're within
7.
1,
Mm-hmm.
5, 5, and
13,
5.
14, 15.
14, 15, 13,
6,
7,
7,
8, 6. Just
Wow.
Again, did not plan this.
No, 0.
It's interesting, but could be very fun as well.
Something tells me that as we go into the last couple of quadrants, it's going to get real cutthroat real fast.
Yes. We got a fun episode ahead of us. Let's get started. Your first sport, and it does go to one of your bonus questions. Your 13 seed. Badminton. Against the 20 seed. Table tennis. Jesse
Wow.
out with a big 20-point lead. Robert to negative 5 he goes.
I think you changed it after I asked you the question leading up to define the definition of the sport.
I can guarantee you.
What did I
It did not get
literally
moved.
say as I was making my counter pick? I had an original feel for the Rancid. Some of these could be in some matchups.
Yep.
I tried telling you.
He has already made his appearance.
Yeah, right off the bat. I'll just say it right now. This was locked in, and you'll see why for a second. Let me see a winner.
Okay.
Table tennis all the way. I have to say, like, badminton can be fun, but I only like watching it during the Olympics because they get crazy. in
Well,
that
that's if
sport,
you've
but-
ever seen the badminton like during the Olympics and the World Championships, especially from your top countries like India, Singapore, China, and that region, it gets fierce,
Yeah,
very fierce.
they get wild with it for sure. But just to prove to Robert that this was already locked in, your 4 seed is tennis. Of course, I had table tennis set up to face tennis. So tennis or table tennis? Which tennis is on? Also, a brief preview and a look forward to an episode about 2 months from now when we do the best tennis players of all time. Jesse will be on that episode. David will also be on that episode. And he just asked me today, the day that we're recording this, he goes, "Oh, yeah, I'm on that episode. Is it like men and women?" And I went, "Yes." And he went, "Oh, that's hard." That makes it worse. I went, "Welcome to the show."
I assumed, so I was
Yes.
already prepared.
Which tennis will advance?
I'm gonna go this
Regular
way,
Tennis, regular tennis, all the tennis. Tennis.
and I'm shout out
moves
to
on.
Andre Agassi already.
Could see his name on a future Bad Brackets. Anybody tempted to take table tennis in that matchup?
I was for a bit, but when it came to table tennis versus badminton, I was always more of a speedminton guy, which has more elements of tennis and is played on a tennis court. I think to myself, tennis, not just for the history, but while table tennis gives them some great moments and crazy shots, tennis matches, sometimes hard for me to get into back in the day, especially, but if I can appreciate it, a lot of other people can.
I love watching it during the Olympic time, but here's the big thing. For me, it stands out is knowing some of these guys we grew up with, the John McEnroe. Tell me a famous table tennis person. I think that's where I struggle a little bit, watching
There's one.
Sharapova. Is there
There's
one?
one.
I can't name
Do you want to
one.
know who it is?
Sure.
Or Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump.
It's the only correct answer.
Saw it coming.
Yep. Listen, I might be clever, but I'm not original. All right. Let's move on. Your 12 seed. Swimming. Anybody want to take a guess at the theme of this matchup?
Water polo.
I was going to say water sports, but I was like,
Cycling.
no, I better
Olympics.
stop right there.
Olympics.
So it's triathlon, cycling.
It's billiards. Pool. If the swimming is in a pool.
Oh.
Billiards, also known as pool. Ha ha. Clever. All right. Big points for Jesse. Jesse running away with this episode early on. Also, that's negative 5 points for Eric. They all picked on Jesse. And Jesse now with a commanding 46-point lead with his 41 points.
Go with the matchups, I said. No way that he could do that, I said. I swear.
You just had to think outside the box like me and get in the pool.
And get in the pool.
Yeah. All right. Show me an answer. Who moves on? Swimming or billiards? Which pool, Robert? The swimming pool?
I put the waves on it.
Okay. Swimming moves on. Robert, what is your favorite swimming motion? Is it technique? Is swimming technique? Swimming
Technique.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
formation. I knew that wasn't right.
as you all know, I'm a big boy. I like to. I love to swim. The easiest swimming stroke for me has to be the backstroke. So from what people can do and project themselves backwards swimming, looking hard, having issues swimming backwards, you got to be a stud to have to do that. So I enjoy watching that more than anything.
All right, let's move on. Your 5th seed. How about basketball? Basketball or swimming? Which sport advances to take on tennis? Wait for Robert to draw to either swimming pool and or basketball court.
Drawing a jump man. Or Jerry West.
By the time he gets that wrote down, the Supersonics will be back. All right, let's
hope
move on.
so.
Let's see an answer. Basketball all the way on. Congratulations to the sport. All right, right into the finals of this quadrant. Tennis or basketball? Which one goes to the final four? Oops, there we go. By the way, shout out to my daughter who drew some sports up here. You may see more of them in the bracket. Football, she did bowling. There's boxing in here, the tennis ball in the middle, and baseball, of course. So she did a good job. She always does on the whiteboard. Let's start with Jesse. Went basketball. Let's go with Eric. Hagen, is it a clean sweep? Oh, let's not get into that debate yet. That's another episode. Basketball does move on to the final four. Let's go ahead and go to quadrant number 2.
Yeah, see what other sports like 7-ball billiards are going to be horrendously disrespected.
I told
Go
you
ahead.
the billiards all goes into billiards. I combined them all. Let's not.
I know that, but I'm saying for these two, you didn't see the old ESPN matches on the day when they had the 7-ball tournaments. I mean, come on.
Well, listen, there is a theme to this episode that I was not planning to be the theme of the episode. But your 16 seed is
give,
boxing.
I said give Jesse all the points, right?
Jesse
That's the name of the
had all 3 big points, though that was his worst showing. But the
Wow.
17 seed, it's MMA. Boxing, MMA. Points for Jesse, points for Robert. But which one moves on?
While they're writing, I just want to point out tennis versus basketball was a difficult choice for me.
Yeah,
That-
I think it would have been for me if I was in
I
your
love
head.
tennis.
I do
but-
too.
Thinking in terms of like eyes on the sport and all that, it had to be basketball.
57 points for Jesse. Just pointing that out. All right. Who is on? MMA.
Dirty boxing.
Dirty
Bare knuckle
boxing.
fighting championships greater than MMA. Look it up. The first event and the premier event on YouTube. Dirty boxing, one of my new favorite promotions. You will enjoy it.
Interesting. But MMA moves on. Listen, boxing is old. And it's a dead sport.
Again,
It's not really. Boxing fans, don't come at me. I'm just joking.
Boxing
That's
is
not the
way
way.
more
It's
way
not
more
what it used to be.
spectacle than
Mhm.
sport.
this is why I say with
Nowadays.
boxing in the traditional sense, yeah, it's not what it was. But if you look at a lot of these promotions, like I mentioned with Dirty Boxing, BKFC with Bare Knuckle, over what you had in England, the old BKB before it was bought out by BYB, and they had that stupid Trigon that I can't stand. That's where boxing is at nowadays.
Yeah, listen, MMA has to move on because Jake Paul is not doing MMA. We'll just throw it that way. All right, but can MMA go up somehow against your number 1 seed? Of course, it's American football. Football MMA. Partially wish that Robert Taylor was on this episode just to have his heart break for that match. He's a big MMA guy, but of course a big American football fan.
Yeah, I mean, a
As
big
well.
MMA guy, but an even bigger Chiefs guy, as anybody who's in the Facebook chat with him knows throughout the season.
Also, the picture I first put up was the Eagles scoring on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Then I remembered Robert Taylor was not on the episode. Did not have to have a little bit of a poke. But any chance MMA moves on? Let's see. Football.
As much as Randy, you and I have a good relationship with the Golden Boy, Austin Arnett, and
Yes.
how much it is grown just up here in the Northwest. Dude, that's a tough choice to.
Yeah, that was a hard matchup for some, for sure. As we move on, and your 9 seed bowling. Of course, I'm a bowler. Robert's a bowler. Have to have bowling on here. Against the 24 seed. Good old darts. Bowling versus darts. What's
Thought
the
about
best
going
game that
darts
most people...
against billiards.
Hate you.
Yeah, that was tempting, but I don't have billiards that high. But also, these are two sports that a lot of people get drunk and play, which they do with billiards too. For sure.
So you go with the whole pool versus pool and swimming versus billiards, but you don't do the bowling and I hate.
No, I think he
I
did this
combined
do
because
this on purpose.
his bowling partner on Sundays is actually a very decent dart player
yes.
too, and I think he did it to a nod for Tony.
Yeah. Hey, when it's not bowling season, he's crushing the darts, and when it's not dart season, I'm carrying him to a Super Bowl victory. I only can say that because I did the best during the championship. He carried me the rest of the way. Which one moves on? Bowling, darts. Eric is a tiebreaker.
Bam!
Wow,
Wow.
darts with the upset of the day.
It just so happens that as we're recording this, I'm watching coverage of one of the premier darts tournaments going on in Europe. Thank you, FanDuel Sports, for that. It's like darts has always had that place in my
Man,
heart.
the crowd they get for those darts tournaments over there in Europe are absolutely insane. I'd rather watch that tournament than some of the PBA tournaments just because of the crowd and the announcer. Like, they know how to hype it up for sure. Any other thoughts on any of this?
No, well, you know how big it is in our valley. They just actually had springtime regionals, so I mean it is huge up here in our valley.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely I grew up playing it, so it's more that pick was a personal pick.
Unfortunately, you guys ruined the big matchup that I wanted to, just to make one person on this show upset to try to figure out what they were going to choose. But your 8 seed is golf. Got to get our boy Joel Damon as the picture. But I really wanted golf versus bowling for Hagen and make him decide. But we get golf versus darts instead. Either way, whoever wins here is definitely moving on in the finals of this bracket. No, it's not. Last chance for golf or darts to advance. All right, let's see. Who moves on? Get a golf, get a... Ooh.
Oh,
So darts moves on because we don't talk about live golf that ruined professional golf.
listen, we haven't talked about how
When
about
I
the
actually clicked it.
how about the indoor golf league this year?
Yes!
Oh,
Yes! Yes!
Even my wife sat down and watched the TGL with me, and it was crazy watching some of those things happen.
It's
So
definitely a way to keep golf
they're
going in
already
the winter.
looking at expanding and adding another team for next year. I'm for it.
well, I am
Completely
too.
for it.
I
Yeah.
was so into watching it every week, and I look forward to it.
Jesse, you watch it?
Especially with everything
No.
next year. It's not that far from me. I may
I
go
don't
ahead
watch
and make the trip
I
down.
don't watch real golf. I don't watch fake golf. I don't watch.
What
Mini
about
golf?
mini golf?
When
I was gonna say,
I was gonna say, when are we gonna see like mini golf on the Ocho?
The Ocho?
No, they've had mini golf tournaments on
Have
the
they?
before. Yeah.
there's legit serious mini golf. Steph Curry hosted a crazy mini golf
Well,
TV
Yeah,
show.
I
Yeah,
actually
but
did
that-
watch that.
I did too.
just
but
for
that
Rob
didn't-
Riggle, and Joe Tess.
Yeah, Joe Tess.
All right. Football.
Yeah, I'm not gonna write it down.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
football.
Football. We'll just
Just move on. Move it on.
The darts was just
Okay.
a hope for a 1 verse 24.
right. All right, let's move on. Your 14 seed, track and field, athletics, running, whatever you want to throw in that mess. It's your 19 seed, horse racing. Which one moves on? That was another fun matchup I had put together.
I think I think this is somehow a measure of revenge for what happened in episode 1. You were so worried about me and my reputation for sniping and picking the 24 seed. I'm gonna claim this. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
You went ahead and did all of this just to mess with my average in season 1. And if that wasn't enough for you, now you're doing it right out of the gate in season 2.
well, -5 is not a good start. That's for sure. Will anybody catch Jesse? And his 57 points. This is trying to find drama in this episode, guys. We'll see how it goes. Which one moves on? Ooh, track and field goes on it. Robert, talk about horse racing.
Listen, I had the great experience of actually working for Emerald Downs as a ticket guy at a remote station here at Lancers, and it was the coolest thing watching and learning how some of these players made their bets and getting to know some of the jockeys and what they did. And then to go to the track and watch it, just hands down some of the awesomeness. Now, track and field for me, there's too many running events, too many things going on to keep track. With that being said, I'm the announcer tomorrow for Lincoln Middle School's track and field events. So if you'd like to come and
sir, this gets aired in a month.
By that time, we're
recording a few weeks ahead of time. So congratulations to anybody that was at Lincoln Middle School and did well. Robert said nice things about you. Your 3 seed and points for Eric.
Finally,
3 of them. He's getting closer to 0. Soccer or track and field? Which one moves on? I can't wait for the first episode where somebody actually finishes in the negative. It'll be the best. And I hope it's a first timer too, so that's their total score.
Let them have their moment of ignominy.
I would say it would be Jesse, but he's already been on 2 episodes. He has 57 points, but his first episode in season 1 was an all-timer. So I think his performance in this episode tops his total points in all of season 1.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to look it up while we go through this.
Somebody's gonna be doing some number crunching.
I will look it up while we're doing this. But which one moves on? Sure soccer, the other football.
As much as I love a good race, especially middle and long distance running, I'm sorry, between the various kinds of indoor soccer, even what's going to be coming to the U.S., the Baller League, which I'm looking forward to. We got the World Cup coming up. Although, so my European team, Manchester United, the less I say about their season, the better this year. But I still love it.
So I'm going to lean into something, Randy, and I'm just putting this in your ear because of why I'm doing this. You've got Messi. You got Pele. You have Michael Jordan. You had Kobe Bryant. These two, Pele, Messi, goats of soccer. There you go. Add it to your goat episode.
Well, you named 2 of the 5 soccer players I can name. So, yeah, we can definitely come up with stuff. There's been topics I didn't know anything about. Watch next week's episode. As far as that one goes as well. To be fair to Jesse, I just did look it up. He was... How many episodes were you in? I just was
4, I think 5.
In the Theo. Jesse was in 6 episodes. He had an average of 35.8 points in season 1, so he had 215. I will also point out that I did look, and the record in season 1 was 59 points.
Ooh.
Yeah, because someone was allowed to have a good and prestigious average in season 1. I wonder why.
But that record is definitely in danger with 57 already. He does have a worry of losing 5 points, but he still has some bonus points that he can work his way through. So we will see how high he can get. Let's go on as I flip back to here. And your 11th seed is volleyball. And your 22 seed is field hockey. Volleyball or field hockey? Which one moves on? All right, show me the winner. Volleyball with a clean sweep. Hagen and I both have gotten a bigger love of volleyball. We're working with Lewis Clark State, and now with me at Walla Walla, and watching a lot of what those college athletes could do. It's a very fun sport.
Oh, 100% from watching what some of these liberos do to the two different coaches that we have worked for, and now your stint now over at Walla Walla. I have huge eye opening to this, and even watching men's volleyball has been crazy on TV.
Now I will say this: all credit to field hockey fives. I really think, just like with other versions of the sports that are truncated, fives is definitely going to gain more prominence in the field hockey realm in the years to come.
That is fair. Well, volleyball beat field hockey, but will it beat ice hockey? See if volleyball can do the hockey sweep. This will be a tough matchup, and you can tell already that Robert is struggling. Which I like to see. I asked the hard questions here on Bad Brackets, or the silly ones. It's either one of the two.
Silly ones.
Yeah, which one moves on? There's a hockey. That's a hockey.
I got to go the other way.
There's a volleyball.
I'm one of those people. I love watching hockey in person, going up to the Spokane Chiefs, but I can't watch it on TV. I struggle watching it on TV. So
I will say real quick before we get to this matchup, this other than I guess, what was it? Darts kind of having a bit of a sneak there for a little bit. The top seeds have been pretty much moving on because the top sports are very much solidified. And this is definitely one of those brackets where it's these first round matchups that are really fun. And then when you pit the top sports against each other, that's where the fun begins. And here's a good one for you: soccer, hockey. What joins basketball and American football in the Final Four? All right, let's start with Eric.
This is easy for me.
The Panthers of soccer. No, just of course. And vote for hockey. Jesse. Soccer. Robert, you are the tiebreaker.
Don't disappoint me, Hagen. Don't disappoint me, Hagen.
Here's the thing.
Don't disappoint me, Hagen.
I mentioned Messi. I mentioned Pele. You got the GOAT and Gretzky. I know I just said I don't like watching on TV. I love to watch it live. But I hated playing soccer when I was a kid. So
there we
I'm
go.
Going hockey.
There we go. Wisdom prevails.
I played a couple years of soccer when I was growing up, and I never got out of the goalie area. And it's not because I was a big boy and I could block the entire net, but
I wasn't going there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're both wrong, but it's fine.
I'm
sorry.
told that all the time.
If you can't appreciate the drama of a good fight breaking out or great checks, especially during the Stanley Cup playoffs or even in the IIHF championships, or I'm sorry, did we all witness the same greatness with the four nations that I saw?
That was a fun tournament. I will give it credit for that. But the World Cup was also great as well. Just not when America plays because we stink. All right, let's move on. Final quadrant. Jesse has gotten all of his 3. Eric has been able to get one of his 3. Robert has been able to get one of his 3. So they need to get going here. And let's start with the 15 seed. It is auto racing. So that is 15 points for Robert. And your 18 seed, cycling.
Telling you it's a conspiracy. I'm smelling a conspiracy here.
Which racing moves on? All right, auto racing, cycling. Show me winner. Cycling moves on. That kind of ruined my question, but Robert, what is your favorite form of auto racing?
As you can tell, I am a huge NASCAR person. Dale Sr. Was my favorite driver. I remember we have these memories of where you are when certain things happen.
Mhm.
I remember exactly where I was at Daytona 2001 and what was going on. And I will never forget that day walking in and watching the last 5 laps of that race and what he was doing for the thing kind of changed my vision of racing altogether. But, NASCAR by far best one.
Jesse, where were you at stage 17 of the 2001 Tour de France?
In bed.
That's probably true. He remembers too.
It's France, so I was probably asleep still.
But why cycling?
Well, mostly because I don't like auto racing.
It's fair.
Never been a big fan of most forms of it. I mean, there are some of it that's more entertaining, rally car and some of that, but
Yep.
but yeah,
Outlaws are awesome. Outlaws are awesome. If you get a chance
just
to watch
watching circle after circle after circle is.
Well, most auto racing is not circle after circle, but
yeah,
that is also fair.
I will say, NASCAR, I kind of get why you moved the Clash out of the Coliseum, but I ain't happy about it. I'm not.
All right. 2 seed. The baseball. See cycling beat that. Jesse still with his counter pick, still alive. See how that goes. But for now, which moves on? Cycling, baseball. Oh, baseball. No shocker to be had. 2 seed on the bracket, number 1 seed for me. I will just straight up say it. That is my sport that I love the most. Let's move on. And your 10 seed, rugby. 10 points for Eric. Against your 23 seed, Aussie rules football. Of course, it's got to be on there. I love that sport. And I knew Robert and Eric were going to be here. Rugby, Aussie rules. Which one moves on? And Robert back in the game. So first, we'll give Eric his 10 points to get him to 8. Jesse, you lose 5 points. And Robert, you gain 23, and now we're at 50. 52 to 50.
Conspiracy, I tell yous.
And Eric is here too.
Conspiracy, I tell yous. The fix is in.
Which one moves on, AFL or rugby? Yeah. So, Jesse, you had no chance.
yeah.
Jesse, have you ever watched Aussie Rules?
No.
You need to. This is our recommendation, 3-on-1. Watch some Aussie Rules football.
So good
is
it was the
legit.
23 seed. I mean,
Well, because it's not popular here.
that's a high recommendation.
not
it's your
popular
bracket.
here.
It's
your
popular
bracket.
on a professional level here. But to those of the United States of America or Australian Football League Big shout out USAFL, my local team here in Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Saints, North Carolina Tigers, Denver Bulldogs, Baltimore Washington Eagles, national championship. We've had the organization since 1997. It gets its love here.
And I've also got 23 because I wanted it against rugby because it's the perfect matchup. And rugby's up higher. And we move on.
But you could have done rugby versus the other way. Could have had rugby as a 23.
You're just upset because you got a close matchup now. And it gets even closer. Because Eric gets more points with cricket.
He's making a comeback.
I was hoping
Guys.
cricket would be the 23 actually, and
That would have been nice, especially since I was picking third in this draft. But, the wheel hates me. So that's that.
That is fair. All right. Which one moves on? Cricket or Aussie rules?
I'm going to hate myself for this one.
Show me, winner.
Your favorite player, Randy? Got to do it.
He's
Technically,
gone.
it's both Australian. You have to pick one.
Well, it depends, Eric. Are you making him pick?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes! I said I hate myself for this one.
Jesse.
Oh!
Pick a sport. It's up
pick
to you.
a sport. I'm gonna go with Aussie football, just because what little I know of cricket means that I don't know anything about cricket.
Watch a T20 match.
I just know that there's a ball and you hit it, and well, it's not even a ball really, but
Yes, it is. Oh,
it's a
yes,
ball.
it is.
well, it's yeah, but yeah,
Again, do yourself a favor. I would say to get acclimated to the rules, watch a session of either test or first class cricket so you get the idea, but primarily to really cut your teeth in for the finer strategy and for the format that's going to be in the Olympics, watch a T20 match. If you don't have that time, even watch a T10 match. Those are over in about an hour and a half. You will learn a lot about cricket, and it's pretty easy to pick up.
I would also suggest John Boy got really into the sport of cricket and has done a ton of videos trying to explain it in baseball terms. And that's why I slightly know what cricket is. But yeah, I mean, it's a crazy sport.
I'm
the
counting
little
down
bit
to the
that
next
I know of
ball and play
cricket
tournament.
is from watching an episode of Bluey. So
There you
I
go.
mean,
Y'all laugh. Bluey, the cricket episode, did a lot of great explaining and had a lot of international appeal. Same with Aussie Rules. They did perfect in explaining like both sports.
This is the perfect to pause. Okay, Randy, we can make sure we'll split it in. You can put a little clip of Bluey in
I don't want to
episode
get
right here.
copyright struck for the 7 people that have watched this episode. All right, it's not worth it.
DCMA.
However, I will say, since cricket has now been eliminated, it's the only time that we can now throw it in there. The old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line. You have to know what a crumpet is to understand cricket. I was hoping we'd have a little bit longer for that, but we get baseball and Aussie rules football. Which one goes to the Final Four? I will write it in already because I know where this is going. Just have a feeling. Go ahead. I think it's a no-brainer on this one. Baseball, and baseball. No surprise. Baseball on to the Final Four. Any last thoughts from Eric or Robert about Aussie rules ball?
Again, love it. It's great. I was hoping that, and there's some, if this finds its way to Australian viewers, don't come at me for this one because I get it. If you want to go ahead and market it more internationally, go back to the formats that you had for AFLX. Trust me, you can keep the full game domestically for you. Absolutely fine. But if you want to have a larger international presence like cricket has, AFLX was the way to go. Google both of those season tournaments on YouTube. Pretty fun watch.
All right, we move on. We have one more fun addition to season 2 if you have yet to watch an episode, and Robert gets revealed to this as well. It is the bubble pick.
That looks
So-
like a crystal ball to me.
It's a bubble. It's
Let
a
me-
very
let me-
circular bubble. Don't listen. I'm not good at the graphics department. All right. It is the 25th sport. Which sport barely missed the bracket? Usually, there are sports that you guys had picked during the draft that didn't quite make it. That could have just barely missed, and we would have a good laugh. All 9 of your sports that you picked ended up being on the bracket, so you kind of have to go a little bit outside the box here. This is worth 5 points if you get it right, and that is a big one for Robert and Jesse. Eric could try to catch up at this point, I guess. And we will start. This one is not a draft. You could pick the same ones if possible. So keep that in mind. But Eric, I will start with you.
Considering as how you had some of the matchups, and you did go with some fairly large contingent of Olympic sports, this may sound off the reservation, but I'm going to go with water polo.
Water polo. Jesse.
I mean, I'll just go with wrestling.
Wrestling. Robert.
I was hoping you weren't going that way. I was going wrestling.
Still
I'm gonna
could.
I'm gonna go wrestling.
Okay. Have you ever set up something and you expected it to go one way, and then as things played out, it just got better and better and better? Eric has been upset this whole episode, thinking it's a big conspiracy against him to hurt his average.
If you look at the scores, look
Yes.
at the scores on the screen.
Listen, what is the one major thing you said right before you made your pick? That
You
I
were
had
both-
an Olympic
Yeah.
focus several times, and then you went with the wrong sport. It's gymnastics.
See? You hype me up. Say it. Oh, I'm so upset. It's a conspiracy.
They also
it is
do-
a conspiracy.
They also
I
do
tell you.
wrestling at the Olympics.
I know,
just
but
wanna
you also
throw
picked the wrong one. But I really thought as Eric was going through his spiel before he picked his sport, that he was going to go gymnastics, and we are going to have this great first bubble pick moment.
I didn't
And
think
then-
that you would think that highly of gymnastics, and especially with your Olympic contingent. Yeah, you went track and field a little bit. You went cycling and all this and that. I would have thought maybe you spend more time in the natatorium. Maybe it's another water sport. Maybe you could have given me the opportunity for more jokes that could have gotten us demonetized. But oh no, you didn't
Well,
do that either.
I knew he wasn't going to lean to the Winter Olympics, so I knew that kind of took out
Oh.
this downhill.
Though curling was in the running.
If I had to guess, I'm sure curling was probably around 30.
Yeah, curling was on the list I first wrote out, and then just did not quite make it. All right, this is where the rubber meets the road, even though all the racing sports have been eliminated. Basketball versus American football. Which one makes it to the finals? Let's start with, Eric. Jesse. Robert. Clean sweep. Clean sweep. We now move on. Hockey and baseball. Which one goes to the finals? Let's go with Jesse. Let's go with Robert. Maybe. Eric is going to stand up.
See? He knows. He knows the bit, unlike someone around these parts.
I went Jesse first and then noticed Eric lean in. I went, I should have went Eric first.
Either way, you got what you wanted. I know what you were
Yeah.
hoping for.
Football and hockey in the finals. What is going to be the champion? I don't know why Robert and Eric keep switching spots. There we go. All right. I want to know when you guys are all wrote in. So I'm going to say something, and I don't want it to feel like I am doing any kind of collusion. But if Robert was thinking for the win, he would go a certain direction.
No, because I was like you. You know where my first love is at,
Yeah,
and
I
you
know.
already know this.
Yeah,
So
Jesse,
have
tell
to
me
go
your-
with the second.
Eric does not look like he's standing up.
Nah, I can't do
No,
it.
it wouldn't have mattered for you anyways, Robert.
No, I know, but
Next week.
baseball was number one for me.
I had this strategy the last round just to.
I kind of was wondering, and that's the fun about this game.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So football is the greatest sport of all the sports. But who wins the episode? So let's go through some of our points. First, looking at what you guys had in your Final Four and your champion. And that's a big one for Eric. He is the first person to nail the Final Four. He also got the champion. That doubles his points to 30. Jesse only missed out on soccer as part of his Final Four. So he gets 11 points. That gets him to 63. Robert had golf and bowling in his Final Four. Also is the only one to go baseball. So that puts him at 54 points. We do have some bonus points still available, though Jesse did kind of pull away there. Here, let's see how this ends up. As your bonus questions were, how many sports on the bracket start with the letter B? You all said 5. The answer is 5. Everyone nailed that. So I will go ahead and give you all a point. Congratulations. The second question, how many sports on the bracket require some sort of ball to play? Eric said 14. Or excuse me, Robert said 13. Eric said 14. Jesse said 15. The correct answer for 3 points is Eric with 14.
Bada bing!
3 more points for Eric.
We were all close.
There was all of these answers
Yeah.
were very close to being on the money. And your final one for 5 points. How many sports on the bracket have the word ball in the name? Robert said 6. Eric said 7. Jesse said 8. The correct answer was just 5. 5 sports had ball in the title. But you guys did very good as far as your bonus questions went. You did very good on this episode. The fact that Eric had 34 points and was never in the running because Robert, with 55 points, which would have been near the top last season, and Jesse Knight with the greatest performance in bad bracket history. 64 points and the win. Jesse, the floor is yours. How did you feel about your performance today?
I'm just proud of the effort that I put in. It was a lot of tape that I studied. I couldn't do it without the people that have believed in me up to this point, which is none of you. So no, billiards was actually, I was not confident in it, so could have gone bad the other way, but no, I'm happy. I also want to just throw out there America's Fifth Sport, the challenge. If you don't watch it, you should.
Oh, that's that
Yeah,
MTV
drama.
thing, right?
Yeah.
I've watched.
Listen.
Before I let Robert do his thing as he gets second with an amazing performance, I will say, Jesse, I watched the challenges on the challenge. I refuse to watch a full episode because I don't need the drama stuff. But on
Exactly.
YouTube, there are several times where I would just watch an hour-long clip show of the challenges because those things are insane. So
Oh yeah, the stuff they do is ridiculous. And the
Robert,
like the eliminations, the head-to-head stuff is
those are nuts. I fully agree. Robert.
Yeah, the only reason I caught up, and I say this, is I want to thank the Geelong Cats, Tom Hawkins, the Hawthorne Hawks,
Stop.
giving me 23 points. I got close with 23 points.
Yeah,
So,
I got you in there.
know,
Yeah, you're welcome for Bailey Smith, by the way. Let that be known.
Eric, 34 points.
I mean,
Has been known to be a winning score sometimes on this show.
sometimes, the effort was there, the hustle was there, but when you're playing against, tough opponents and the referees as well,
Yeah.
sometimes certain things, it doesn't quite go your way. The calls don't quite go your way, but we got to just settle up, take this L, get out there next time.
just call him Joe West.
Oh, by the way, Randy, that 20 should be in your account anytime soon.
It's all worth it. It's all worth it in the end. So 3 episodes, 3 different winners. We'll see how long we can keep that going. Next week, we know we're going to have a new winner, as it will be Trevin making his Bad Brackets debut. I worked for the Lewiston Tribune. He will go up against Scott, who has not been around since season 1, and Sean Garmer, who lost during the In Your House episode. So we will have a first-time winner in season 2 next week. They will be looking to figure out what is the best mobile game, the best game to play on your telephone device. For the record, I am a gamer. I have a lot of video games to my left in my collection. However, to show you how few mobile video games I play, one of the bonus questions is how many of them I have actually played, as far as the games that are on the bracket. And spoilers, it's not 24, and it's not close to 24. So that will be a fun one as well. Hopefully you look forward to that next Monday. The next time, as I look at our schedule, the next time you see Eric will be in 3 weeks. I have yet to find opponents for Eric just yet, but we will get there in due time. But he is going to be part of the best TV spin-offs. That should be a pretty fun episode. That is also the first Bad Bracket Season 2 ranking that I had completed, because that was actually supposed to be a Season 1 episode before we had to hit the break. So I just kind of copied and pasted and moved it on over. The next time you will see Robert Hagen will be the first Season 2 episode with the 3 unwise men. Hagen, Eric, Harry, the trio that started it all and were in most of the first 10 episodes, will battle it out in a food episode, as it should be. Best burger toppings. Those 3 will go at it. And the next time Jesse will be on the show is the week right after that, when we will try to figure out who is the greatest tennis player of all time. We got a lot of great episodes coming your way throughout the summer. Hopefully you do, as Eric said, like, comment, and subscribe. Tell all your friends. Put in the comments the topics that you want to see. Comment in if you want to jump on one of these episodes and debate about how bad my bracket really is, or try to beat Jesse's new record.
Now
But,
remember, if
go
you
ahead.
agree with me, I have a very long YouTube handle. I will be adding it appropriately so that way you can get it right in the future.
And with that said, once again, congratulations to Jesse. Very good episode with him and Robert and Eric. I'm Randy. We will see you next week. But don't forget, good brackets do not last forever, but bad brackets do.